expected the world, but it flew away from reach, and the bullets catch.
Hello, happy Friday. How is everybody?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Good
I'm good.
morning.
Miss Lizzie, I haven't seen you since Orlando. Good to see you.
I know. Good to see you too. Glad to be here.
Good, good. You guys got these beachy backgrounds. It is hot and humid here in Georgia, but I am nowhere near the water unless we go to a creek. So here we are, and you guys are just teasing me. I have the beach itch. So,
I'm teasing myself too. So
yes. Well, good morning. Good morning. We're going to get rolling with some numbers here in just a few minutes. I know I saw a couple of you hopping in there last minute, updating some numbers. So Tessa and I have been working to update the slides. We might just end up sharing the tracking sheet. We definitely appreciate your flexibility. And before we get rolling, does anybody want to share about their week? Mel, you look like you want to say something.
What?
What?
No, I was just like posting in chat to make sure everyone gets online. The little turtles. Trevor will join shortly. He's just finishing something. So
Perfect. Well, who wants to share about their week? Pop off mute or I'm going to call on you.
It was the most successful week from hiring people for me.
Woohoo!
I've
Let's
been
hear
in
about
this.
it.
I've been in this a month. I had no shows at the beginning of the week. Poopy. And then yesterday it like lit up. I did have one girl that I actually hired but she afterwards replied, which she didn't ghost me. So thanks for not ghosting. But she's like, I really, at this time in my life, I don't think I can devote what I need to in it. She's young, she's in college. She really likes the idea. She has a servant heart. And she talked to her mom about it and she realized like, the commitment was just going to be too much for her right now, but she's going to let me know if anything changes down the road. So I was grateful for that because a lot of people don't even tell you that much, right? They just ghost you. But I have two people currently enrolled and they're cruising. I have an agent, Dana, that I hired on Monday or recruited. I'm not using the word hired, recruited on Monday. She's in Excel. She's going to Houston. She's going to meet Trevor and Sandra down there next week. A beautiful soul, and trying not to name the damn puppies, but it's really, really hard. So I'm just super excited, after this being my first, month officially in getting the flow of it and connecting with people is like super, super awesome. And I've got two other people that should be enrolling in Excel either this weekend or next week. Two other guys, and I'm just super, super, super thrilled. I'm hoping I actually get, applicants in Georgia would be nice while Netta's getting all the Georgia people. She's like, you should be getting the Georgia people. Because I would love to be able to have some that are close to me. Because I know that like she's reached out to, they've got a Utah group that aren't necessarily hers, but it's nice to have that community. So that's my win. I'm super excited and super happy.
Well, that is awesome. And I totally get it, right? Like we can't name our puppies, but once you start hearing people's story, right? Just like when we hear a client's need and you know that we have the solution to what it is that they're looking for, you're like, if you only knew what is available to you and how good you would be, I get it. So it's very hard not to name your puppies, but it's very easy to get excited about the potential that people have. So that's awesome, Kristen. Who else wants to share about their week and what it's looked like? Miss Brandy, things are settling down, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I'm getting more the hang of it, I guess, the transition.
Being in your new place, having lots more calls. What's it been like? Hectic?
A little bit, yeah, but I'm getting back in the game again. I didn't do a lot of dials for like a couple weeks and we're like in a like almost like a studio apartment thing. So like there's no really walls, but I found an office space, so I'm
Oh,
really
that's
excited.
exciting.
And yeah, I'm
Yes.
getting back in the groove. So
Nice.
I'm
Awesome.
excited.
Awesome.
And I
Well,
did hire 2 people this week, so that's
yes,
fun.
yes. And we are going to talk about some numbers. We're going to talk today about how to edify and promote the system in our uplines without shaming yourself, right? Like a lot of us can, while we're edifying our uplines or Trevor, all these other people in the field, it can turn into comparison, right? And so that can help, that can actually in turn have you hesitate to talk about what your belief is, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, talk about some numbers. Mr. Tipton, you want to jump in and say anything before we get rolling here?
What's up, suckers?
Welcome.
How we feeling? How's everybody's week been? Good?
Doing good.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So good. My computer's dying, so I'm trying to like stretch it out like just a little bit longer. So, but yeah, you get to go buy a new laptop. So
Got the phone fixed
Well-
yesterday. Next is the laptop.
yeah, literally the guy told me it was the worst battery in a phone he's like ever seen.
Oh
My
my
phone wouldn't charge past 80% anymore, and it was just instantly dying. So like it just went from like it was slowing down, it was getting slower, and then my battery just said, "Nope, I'm not working no more." And it didn't work basically unless I had my phone plugged in. So that was fun.
You have the
Fun,
16.
fun.
Are they
What?
having problems? The 16s, are they having problems?
It was just no, I'm on the year before. It's just
Oh,
it's what
okay.
they do. They want the battery to die. So you go
Yeah.
buy a new phone. And I'm like, well, I'll go buy $100 battery for now. But I'm like, I gotta travel for 2 weeks. Like I can't have my battery on my phone not working.
Yeah.
So
All right, so
Yeah.
let's whoop. Y'all know me. I am just this week has really shown me I am not as tech savvy as I thought, y'all.
not true. We do not say that, and we do not put that shit in the universe. So I don't want to hear that. Because
Well-
that's not true.
Not as tech savvy as I thought. Maybe I had higher expectations for myself, but we're working on it. We're learning. So let's see. We're going to just pause here for a moment. I want to recognize our builders for your work this week. So congratulations to all of you that are building out your teams, building up your pipeline. I'm going to move this little guy over here. And I'm going to call on Miss Sandra to run our leaderboards today.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Well, starting here on our top builders for the week, we have, is it just 1 week? Yeah. Okay. So we have Anna and Kristen with both 4 new hires. And then we have Keith and Allison and Miller and S with 3 new hires. And then Brandy and Juanetta tying for third at 2 new hires each.
Nice, nice. And moving on, I want to recognize some people this week. So, Miss Setta, we are just going to keep on picking on you, but you can feel free to pick on your husband if you want to. So, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. You got your toes wet, right? You were like, I'm going to jump into this builders thing. And then after you got started, you were like, I can do this. I'm just going to keep doing what they tell me. So, obviously, the Rupenny team is just scaling up. Can you guys tell us a little bit about your week this week?
Yeah, I can. He's busy. I think this week was pretty good. I had a lot of interviews. It's going good. I was excited. I hired a 20-year-old, Jacob, that was on the call yesterday. He really struck me. I have many 20-year-olds. So he just kind of stood a little different to me. And I was excited. I really love like meeting people through the interviews and just kind of like I'm following it, trying my best to follow what you guys are saying. And just having conversation and getting to know people and sharing the opportunity. So yeah, I really like that part. And I didn't understand at first that whole what are you a nurturer or whatever? And then Trevor was like, oh, I already know who's doing what. And I didn't understand any of that. And now I'm understanding, okay, that's why you guys do that. That's what that means. And yeah, I guess that's what I am. And I feel comfortable in this role. I feel like, yeah, it is me. It's more, allows me to be more of, myself. But yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's more exciting because I do believe in all of this. And it's that belief that you guys say, if I didn't believe in it, oh, trust me, I would not be here. So that makes it easier because I do believe, and it's just getting out and sharing it. And yeah.
Miss Mel, you want to hop off mute? You got something to say?
Yes, I do want to say a huge shout out for S. Like, she definitely this week stepped out of her box on her social media, being really personal, being really authentic. And I think that's like right there's a direct correlation to especially Kristen being on there, because she's doing very well on social media as well, sharing her thoughts and her feelings and stuff what she's doing. So that is direct, the way you guys are doing it and being way more authentic and being comfortable about it. The more you're comfortable, just doing it on social media translates when you're interviewing people, when you're talking to them, you get way more comfortable because you're sharing more and it comes through when you're meeting with them. So, and especially look, when they make an appointment for you, they're going directly in Google searching you, right? So if your social media is blank, they're going to be like, huh, this is a little bit of a scam, I don't know. But the more they see you posting, the more you talk about yourself or what you're doing, they're like, okay, I can see it. And so you feel way more relatable when they come in and start talk to you in the interview. So big ups to Setha and Kristen, everybody else too. I see you guys are stepping out. Brandy's trying to get in the flow, but she's been moving. It's been intermittent. I'm watching. I'm following. I check on you guys. I check social media sparingly. So yeah, good job, you guys though.
That is awesome. And that actually teed up what I wanted to talk about today just perfectly. So, when we're talking about our belief in the system or in our team, in our mentors, I think what people often do when they get started here is we know there's a huge learning curve, right? It's put your head down, do the work, don't look up until, you've at least made it through your first 90 days, right? Well, what happens when we do that oftentimes is we start out as a new agent, likely no experience or maybe not good experience, right? Coming from other IMOs, whatever the case might have been. And we put our heads down and we work. And then we start building. So then we're starting to have these conversations. I truly believe that we need to take a moment and pause when we decide to turn on that builder's light and say, okay, I'm going to start building my team. And I think that you guys need to spend even 5 to 10 minutes writing your symmetry story. So that is going to change almost on a monthly basis, right? So I had a conversation with Anna earlier this week. Anna, do you care if I share a little bit about our conversation? Okay. So this really struck me, and I think that this is huge for all of us, is that we oftentimes get started, we have a huge learning curve, and we feel like we have this huge deficit, right? And especially when we start building and we're promoting our uplines, we often, like I said, start comparing ourselves. So it would be a great exercise for everyone to sit down and write out, or at least just talk to yourself, talk to your partner, talk to your running buddy about what your symmetry story really looks like. Because like Mel was just saying, the more that you put yourself authentically out there, wow, you got flowers. That's awesome. So the more that you guys put yourself out there authentically, right, the easier it is to talk about the system, to talk about your mentor, to talk about your own experience. Okay. So when Anna and I talked, actually, it was at the end of last week, and I decided, hey, we need to have a quick meeting. Let's kind of readjust your mindset and the words that I'm hearing you say. Because when she first called me, she was all excited about these new hires. I'm very excited about the fact that I can edify Trevor. We have a great system here, and I get to talk about that when they ask, certain questions. And then she kind of slipped up and she said, but I have a hard time talking about me still, because I'm still going through a little bit of a learning curve, right? And so when we sat down earlier this week, we spent 15 minutes talking about it. And Anna, I'll have you hop off mute in just a minute. But I told her, you need to rethink about what you think about yourself, right? So spend some time, and there are some of us that have come from other IMOs or even other agencies here in Symmetry, right? Like, let's be transparent. But what we have on this team is really not like anything else out there. You can actually plug in, you can actually become successful here, right? We know this for ourselves and for our people, and it's okay. And Kristen did a really great job about this, about being transparent and vulnerable, even I'm sure with some of your recruits, right? Like in the beginning, I wasn't able to commit, as much time as I needed to, or I had too much going on in my life. Now that I've committed to the system, I can talk about this, right? Just like with Anna, now that I've readjusted my vision, and now that I've plugged back in with a team that really works together and a mentor that supports me and that has built out a system that all of us have access to now I see how that's changing my business. Okay. So just because you might have had a rocky start, just because you might have been a slow turtle in the race at first, that is okay. It's just about how you perceive that. And I know earlier this week, a lot of you heard Marlon Faulkner's story, right? When I first started at Symmetry and I heard his story, to me, what I felt after that was, if he can do that and he can make those kind of sacrifices, why can't I? Right? Sometimes I feel like we living in America here become a little too privileged, right? Like, sure, we can go and show up anywhere for a paycheck and have our bills paid, but is that really why we're here? Right? So the 1% difference of the people that everybody wants to be, the millionaires, the people that make a lot of money, that have the freedom, the time, it's because they're the ones that decide, I'm actually going to do what's different, right? Kristen has talked about putting in 12-hour days here recently, because she knows that if she puts in this work now, what that is going to afford her here in 3 to 6 months, right? So how we perceive our own journey will come out of our mouths, just like our belief in the products and how we can help people there. The same thing with building, guys. So as an exercise this weekend, or as you look at your interviews for this week, take 5 to 10 minutes if you haven't recently, and say, okay, I'm going to actually just talk to myself or talk to my partner about what my journey actually looks like. And you might be surprised to hear the good things that come out of it, or even the challenging things that you're like, hey, I could actually do better. Now that we're talking about this and I hear myself saying it, I know I can do better in this area, right? So, Anna, do you want to share anything about what that changed or what you picked up from that conversation?
Yeah. Symmetry will definitely shine a light on your strengths and your weaknesses. I've been saying that for 4 years. And after I was talking to you, I started thinking, why is it so easy for me to shine the spotlight on everybody else? I mean, if you guys just knew what I say in my interviews, I mean, I'm shining a spotlight on Kristen a lot. I shine a spotlight on, I know her, look at her face, on my admins, on Trevor and Mel, and how wonderful they are as a couple to us, and just how, they're just amazing. And when I talked to you, I was like, I just can't talk about myself. Like, I can't, what do I have? Where, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I thought I would be. So what do I have to offer these people? Right? And I realized it stemmed from childhood, things that were said to me, things that, negative things and stuff like that. So I've just never taken compliments very well. Right? Some people think I'm humble. It's really not that. It's just that I just don't know how to take compliments, so I just say thank you. Um, but the way I saw myself was nothing, right? I'm just nothing. So I was saying all these things about everybody else to show them, hey, this is an amazing team, so that I could take the spotlight off me and pray to God that they didn't ask me how well I was doing. But after I spoke with you, I took your advice and I started talking about all of you And then I started telling them, look, actually it opened up them being more transparent with me. It opened up, their struggles in their jobs and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Before I came to this team, I struggled a lot. But after I came to this team and the mentorship that I'm receiving, my business is growing exponentially, and I am growing as a person, I'm growing as a producer, I'm growing as a builder, and it just resonated with them, and they were like, we want that. That's what we need in our life. And so I was able to, at first it was weird for me, but I was able to do that, and I was able to still edify my team and my upline, but I was also able to edify me in that way. And so everyone I spoke to was like, how can we get on this team? And everyone that I've spoken to has either taken their exam and they're ready to get their license, they're motivated, or they're going through pre-licensing next week. So yeah, it really changed the dynamic. It really changed, it literally opened the door for them to be more transparent with me to be more transparent with them, and it built trust. It built trust because they were like, wow, if you can tell me this. So they even told me, they said, everybody that we've talked to, it's all about them. It's all about, I'm making this much money, I'm doing this, you can do it too. But you didn't say that. You showed us that if you can do it and you've struggled and you've gone through things, now you're on this amazing team and you're rising. Well, that's what I want. So I really do appreciate you taking your time and talking to me. I really do.
Yeah, and guys, this is why it's so important to reach out to, and a lot of you are good about it, right? Reaching out to Trevor, reaching out to your running buddies, to myself, even having those short conversations, just sharing about, hey, this is how my, recruiting is going. This is how my, dialing is going. Oftentimes you won't even think that it's an opportunity for coaching, right? You're just sharing, but we might hear something, or just subliminally, I can tell where your mind is at because of the posture or the words that you use, right? And what are we here to do? TJ Jr. here, I'm going to call you out too, right? I'm going to ask you the questions, the hard questions. Trevor's one of my mentors too, guys. I'm just trying to be a good leader and support you guys and serve you too. So that's the same thing we need to do for ourselves, right? Question yourself. Why do I feel this way? Why am I? Because oftentimes I think we try to lie to ourselves and it only goes so far. Really, it does. So this leads on to the next point I want to make, and then I'm going to call Trevor in for this. But you guys have done a phenomenal job stepping up and getting involved, obviously, with the team as a whole, and obviously growing out your own teams. So we are also going to be promoting and edifying you guys. And a great way to do that is to have you guys actually help run the calls, have you guys in that leadership position. So you guys are going to, and Trevor's so excited to hop off mute, so I won't make him wait any longer, but this is going to be a way that we're going to edify each other, and people get to see that no matter what background you come from, no matter how long you've been here, that it's achievable for all of us, and that we have a good support system here for everybody. So even though you might be edifying Trevor and these other managers and leaders, then they're going to get on the call. And this is a really important point that we want to make today, is plug your people into the call, because then they're going to see all of these faces that you've been talking about. And then they're going to hear from Kristen and Anna, you guys pumping each other up, and they're going to say, I want that. I want to work with these type of people. So Trevor, no further ado, have your way, buddy.
Hi.
Hi.
You guys all look so serious. Why do we look so serious? It's Friday. We don't have boss. Well, most of us don't have a boss. Some of us are still trying to fire him, but we're working on that, right? Yeah, Miss Tina, right? Like we're working on that. Miss Dayla, like Miss Allie, we got a few on there. Yeah, so I want to duplicate and multiply, right? I want to start teaching all you guys how to run calls and and having you lead, and that's what we're going to do. But the big thing is get your people on the calls, get them on camera on the call, right? Like the reality is, if you don't I get there's like situations where someone just can't, right? Maybe they're at work, right? Like Tina's done it, right? I've watched Tina like log in and you can tell her phone's sent to the side, right? And she's got like an earbud in and she's listening. And I get that, right? Like I get I get that thing happens,
Right, you get to see
but
the ceiling.
but everybody's gonna mimic what you do, right? I don't show up to calls not on camera, right? Like when I show up, I'm on camera, right? Like they're going to do what they see you do, right? They're going to do how they see you do. So you have to remember that, like as you go forward, it's there. And I got a couple of things I want to show and talk about like operationally. But Anna put her hand up. So what's up, Miss Anna?
So I just wanted to say, on top of that, Trevor, one of my girls that's going through Excel right now hopped on, she's hopped on every call, but she hopped on the Marlon Faulkner call. And she told me, she said that motivated me to move forward in my pre-licensing so fast because he has no idea how he just changed my life. If he can do it, I can do it. So I just wanted to say that's absolutely right. You know, getting them on early, it just really motivates them and they can really see themselves doing this and changing their lives.
Yeah, for sure, right? And listen, stuff happens, right? Like Keith and Allison are at the doctor this morning, right? Like, right? I mean, life happens, right? That's why we're doing this is so we can go do life, right? Next week, right? I'm traveling 2 weeks in a row. So, but I'm excited. I get to go give Sandra a hug and all the other people in Texas. So, like, that's going to be fun. Yes, if you're jealous, you should be, right? That's why we buy conference tickets. So, but on that note, right, they're going to do what would they say they do. And I want to talk about what Anna and Misty were talking about, right? Like, I, you know, if I could get on and say, well, I'm not a 130, right? I'm not an agency owner yet, right? I could get on and take that attitude, but I don't. I get on and say, we have this amazing opportunity and we can all grow together. And remember this, that I really mean this. One of the coolest things about this place is we're all incentivized to make it bigger together. Okay. Symmetry bigger together is better for us. Okay. When you're talking about the leads, right? And you're asking a client about the leads, like, again, this is for those, I want frankly, not enough of you come and listen to me interview. So if you want to get better at it, listen to me, right? Like, one of the things you have to remember this, right? Symmetry is our brokerage. How does Symmetry make money? How does Symmetry and Quality make money? Does anybody know? Does anybody know how they actually make money? Not Brandon and Casey, but how do the companies make money?
They get a small percentage off of the policies we sell.
There we go, right? They get a small cut
Yesterday.
right, of everything we do, okay? So do we think Symmetry might be incentivized to get us really good leads? Yes. They have whole teams invested into it. So, guys, our old business, right? I spent hours and hours a week. I've spent hundreds of hours also having to learn how to advertise and market because these people are out here ripping you off and doing stuff. And I had finally figured out how to do it myself. It is a time sucker. The fact we can just go in and get them, let your agents know that. You don't have to, it's people come in and if you have the posture that leads are an expense and not an investment, guess what? That's what's going to be. And if that's your mindset now, flip it. Right? Flip it. Right? Like, and is it way more fun? Right? Lizzie, how much more fun is it to interview and say, I sold 5K last month? You can do it too. Right? That feels good. Right?
Oh yeah. Speaking
Right.
from experience. Yeah, definitely.
Right? Sandra, right? Sandra wrote 5K last month. Hey, I wrote $5,000 last month, right? Like, that's a lot more fun to say, right? Than not. So that's where it's going to push you to like try to lead from the front, right? Like, again, some people on here might end up being Danny Young and might only ever sell 10 policies in their life. It could be hard to fund the business, but you could do it, right? Like, you just got to go promote way, way faster and way quicker, right? I've worked with some agents recently that have, that are tight on money on their lead budget. It is 2025. you can go find a way to get money. Go drive Uber Eats, go drive Uber, go drive Lyft, go do DoorDash. Like there's a million things you can do to like go make a couple extra $100 a week to then have that money to buy in leads and invest into that. So let's talk about that. We're going to talk about some incentives for the team. Okay. So moving forward, and it's not personal production, team production. Any team that's doing 20K in a month, no charge for the bullpen, no charge for Bittrex. Okay. So no charge, right? Right. 20K, right? Now, if you're placing $2,000 of that only, we're going to have a very different conversation, right? But, right. Team production, free bullpen access, free Bittrex access. Okay. So that's a way to incentivize your team going forward, right? Like it's there. All right. We're going to have some hiring contests like going on as we get there. We're going to have some contests that I'm really excited about for conference. All right. So bring 5 people on your team to conference and I'll refund your ticket. Bring 10 and I'll cover 2 nights of your hotel. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Right. Bring 5 paid tickets on your team. I'll cover, even if you bought your ticket, I'll cover your conference ticket. You'll get it back in the lead credit. Bring 10 and I'll cover 2 nights of your hotel. All right. So, right. Like I want to reward the team for growing. Oh, Mama Mel.
Hunter needs 10 people anyways, because she got that bet with Dally. So that's just a bonus if she can actually get it.
Exactly. You saw me perk up when he said that. I was like, what?
Yeah. Right. And here's the deal, right? We got to be accountable about our metrics. Okay. You got to be accountable, right? I watch people here get offended and get hurt when we talk about that. Like, guys, winners win, right? And it's about like the practice and what you're putting in. And this is what really helped me. Last conference in Denver, I got to spend 30 minutes with Marshall Whalen one-on-one. I had no business at that point getting 30 minutes with Marshall Whalen one-on-one with who he is in this company. For those that are newer and don't understand who Marshall is, Marshall has 18 130 directs to him. In just passive income, Marshall makes about 250K a month in equity bonuses. Equity bonus. That's it. I'm not talking about the money his agency does. I'm just talking about the passive money he makes from doing that. Marshall is an incredible leader, and I got like 30 minutes with him. And the thing he really challenged me on was my personal development. Like he's seen it. This is a guy that literally, I'm not gonna say his 18 130s direct to him. Okay. 18. Right. So if you want that belief about you, you gotta chase also being a leader, right? You gotta chase growing that skill set. And it's a skill set you can learn, right? It's a skill set and practice that you can learn to get going. I'll let Misty chime in.
Yeah, I just want to bring up, so talking about conference, and there was another little update that I know we're going to be making to our interview process. So like, how do we get people to conference, right? On that first interview. So you're talking about them, they're excited, they want to get started. You've invited them to the call. Hey, one other thing I want to chat with you about. We have this conference. It's our annual conference. Everyone from Cemetery is going to be there, and it's the biggest training event of the year. Is there anything that would keep you from coming to conference August 13th through the 15th, I think is the dates, right? So is there anything that would keep you from coming to conference during this time? Start asking now, right? Don't wait until a month before conference. As you're having these conversations with either new hires or, right, your agent activation call, somebody just got licensed, they're ready to get started, and maybe you haven't mentioned it yet, or they haven't bought their ticket yet. Okay, well, this is when I need to mention it again, right? So work in your workflow when you're going to be bringing that up. And I definitely recommend you should be bringing it up during that first interview, because that's also going to tell you, is this person going to be very committed, or are they going to dip their toes in, right? That's just another opportunity to invite them to conference. But also what we're going to start doing in our interview process is after we've talked with them, we've had that first interview, maybe we're saying, hey, let's get you started in licensing, or hey, I want you on our call on Monday. In the meantime, I'm going to send you a 45-minute corporate overview. Is there anything that would keep you from watching that prior to our next conversation? Okay, so that is also going to give them a lot of information and set them up to talk to you about the business. That's all I wanted to share, Trevor.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So I'm gonna go do some onboarding stuff with Bittrex. So I want to talk about once they become a new agent, okay? So this is the part we need, like we need to connect them, okay? And I'm serious about this. I'm gonna be as close to a boss as you're gonna have as I can possibly get about this, because it's important, okay? 100% Miller. Unlike absolutely. That is how you convert unlicensed people to there. So Jabria, who is now licensed, who lives in Phoenix, I interviewed her. We talked. She said absolutely. She bought a plane ticket, came to conference. She hadn't even finished her licensing course yet. Right? So it's anyone can come because they're going to get to see the culture and the team environment. And it's right. I think we're all here because we know what that provides, right? We can all agree like that opportunity provides that. But yes, use our code, please. So I please use the code. So I'm trying to get my money back. So if I can on the code, right? So I just being transparent. I would like to get it back. So let's talk about Bittrex here. Okay. When they become a newly appointed agent, what are the two things they have to do once they become a newly appointed agent? What do they have to do? You better know this. Nope, you're not allowed to answer. Absolutely not. I want to know from the agents who are hiring, what do they have to do when they become a newly appointed agent?
Are you talking about before they get into LMT? Our 2 steps before?
Yep. So, right. Hey, the Symmetry contract submitted, right? And right, like they're there. Okay, well, E&O, yep. So, okay, you pass your exam. So let me walk through a little better. They pass their exam, they sign the W-9. Why do they sign a W-9? Let's talk about this real quick, because I'm going to give you a crazy call that happened with me and Christina Watts this week, okay? So let's talk about a W-9. Why is the W-9 important? Anyone? Why do we require it?
So we can report it as income if they walk away and leave you with debt.
Christina Watts had a kid come in that was 23 years old, scammer. She took a $9,000 charge back before they caught him. He was just writing apps everywhere, got it, took the commission and bounced. $9,000. Christina didn't know because nobody had taught her about how the W-9 stuff works. I was talking, she was like, wait, what? She was like, I'm literally putting that in for my entire agency moving forward. Right? Like so there's the thing. So why do I do that? Because Misty and I know how to protect you. Okay. Right? Like, again, some advantages we have from our personal experiences, other business experiences, Symmetry experiences, that. Okay. So here's the deal. Debt roll up happens here, right? If you're new and you're like, what's debt roll up? If an agent below you, right, has a policy chargeback and they don't pay for it, the debt rolls up. Right? The insurance carrier doesn't care how it gets paid. It gets paid. Yep, absolutely. But here's the deal, right? If you have the W-9, unlike everyone else, at the end of the year, that was income, right? You get to then just write it off on your taxes, right? And so it offsets. So you're not taking an actual loss, right? Sure, it's some cash out of your pocket, but you get to write it off on your taxes. So it's a net zero if you have that. That is why it's required, okay? From there, all right? W-9, E&O. When I'm interviewing, okay, remember guys, E&O isn't an option, okay? I don't care how they used to do things. E&O is not an option. Do we want to sell Americo? Do we want to sell LGA? Do we sell it out of Corebridge? Yes. Got to have E&O. It's $138 down. It's $30 a month. If they can't come up with that, they probably can't do the business anyways, okay? You have to have it, all right? So now they're there, right? They've got E&O. They've done, right? They're a newly appointed agent, right? They have to do what, okay? They have to do SureLC, right? because we know stuff takes time, right? Transamerica is 15 to 20 days right now. It's brutal, right? It's just brutal getting Transamerica, and they're aware of it. We'll see. I'm flying there in 2 weeks. Everybody, they're gonna get lit up. It's literally all a bunch of the leaders of the company. They're gonna trash them over it. They have to fix it. They're too big a company not to. Okay, so they're working on that. But right, they have to do that. But what else do they have to do? What's the second thing?
Write a policy on themselves.
Correct. Okay. Why are we doing that?
It gets them, it jumpstarts them, gets them, so they can see what the app is like, first of all, and what it's like for the client side, and it jumpstarts them, for instance, with Moo, gets them
Yep.
gets their contracting all finished and everything.
We literally can write any policy on earth with Moo except a GIWL, right? And every other policy that exists, we can write. So if they're like, hey, I have someone instantly, you set an appointment right away, you're not stuck without a carrier, right? You have just-in-time approval, you've submitted it. We can also say, hey, figuring out the phone app and the signature is a little wonky the first time, right? Like it's a little like, oh, it's a little complicated. It's like, oh, this is again, it's $5, it's $10, it's $12. It's nothing, right? Like we're not doing this, nobody's making any money on this, right? And you're getting half the money back anyways. It's costing you $5 a month. You got 50 grand, $10, you got 100 grand, right? Like we want you to get there, but here's the deal, right? Why these are here, right? We want these converted because then we have the registration for Live Mentor training. Live Mentor training keeps growing and growing. I need to know who's coming each week. Okay. I need to know who's coming and who's signed up. It is your responsibility to work with your agents from here to here. Okay. I keep personally having to move a bunch of these people in here. I'm not your secretary. That's not my job. Do your job. Okay. Go in here, and when they get moved, you got to move them. This is your job, right? When they take out their first application, when they schedule, I don't know when they schedule their game plan meeting with you, right? So I left one here, right? Tina has done, right, her first order and her first appointment. So I left it on here. I knew she'd be here today, right? So now I got her set. She did her first appointment. I got her moved over, right? I had her teed up to use an example, right? As we go through, it's there. Remember, when they get to here, this is where you sit at 80%, right? We've all gotten the drips. Hey, everybody, you can get out at 80%, right? Remember, it's teaching you how to do that, but it's our job to get, like, your job to get them from there to there, okay? Right? And I won't move them. They will sit there until they take out their first application, right? So, like, Kai just took his out, right? Allie took hers out. Now, Allie's also done her first lead order. I left some in here to give some examples real quick, right? So now it's there, and I was like, okay, great. So I want her to see this. So now she's going to get that. I also knew she set her first appointment, right? So then I can move her over. I leave her here to like see. So now she's going to get an email and text, right? Like this is how it's going to work this week. You need to do this for your team and your agents. They don't automatically move. I'm the one moving them. The one thing I will do is when they register for Excel, I get the email, I'll drag them over, right? We can't fix that. It's only going to come to me. I wish it is a complaint from the entire company to fix that, FYI. So Miller worked on building something. We're going to see if we can implement it. Miller's helping me do some automation stuff that might help automate it, which I would love, right? So I think it's going to work, but we're going to see, okay? But as this goes through, it's your guys' job to move them through here, right? So, you know, like example, like I know Rhett has his first sale, right? But I'm not moving him, right? Like that's Keith and Allison's job, right? You got to go through and use the system to move through. So for like those that are like really understanding here, like what this entails, all right? Misty, Mel, and I might be just a little bit protective of this, okay? We have built and adjusted all these automations. Look at all these drips, okay? There's drips that go for up to 6 months on people, okay? So you'll see, right? You get emails from me, you get texts from me. Hey, where are you at on this? Hey, how's it going on that, right? If you're in the system already, you get told, go check in with your agent. Now let's have a transparent conversation this morning. I want you to be just transparent because we can only get better. Let's be accountable. How many of you, when you get that text, go check in with your agent? Right?
I usually already have, but I
Right,
just am
but-
starting, so I'm new. But you like, I check on them and then I get it. I'm like, ah, it's done. I did it.
Right? But that's what it's there
And
for.
so-
They're like, say, hey, go check in on them, right? And it's gonna come, right? Like, here's the reality. We all want to get to where we have really good work-life balance. You're gonna have to get out of it for a while to get to where you want to go, right? Like, that was the conversation Mel and I really had in the fall after conference was, do I want to do this again? Right? Because guys, I'm serious. Like, I really, like, her and I really had that conversation of like where it's going to go because I've done this and I've had to do this a couple times in my life of where I just for a little while got to put my head down. The problem was at the last business, I never got to bring it up. Right? Here, there is light at the end of the tunnel. But if you want an extraordinary life, you can't do it with ordinary actions. Right? Like, you just can't. Right? And go have work-life balance, right? Like, Mel and I went and found our moose last Saturday, right? Like, bucket list checked, right? Thank goodness, by the way, the Teton Pass had a landslide and has collapsed again, by the way. So wild that we got to get it done. Thank goodness. So,
Trevor, you didn't have to leave Utah to see a moose. I could have shown you one.
no.
Of
It's
Brighton.
principal. No, it's principal
Just
on the Tetons.
I'm just sad you left.
Yes. So, but we got to see a bunch. It was great. But yeah, like, it's right. Like, you're gonna get what you put out. And again, it is a, you got to just chase after it. And I'm on very happy note. I am so excited. We have 12 people in Excel this week between everyone. Like, that's amazing. Like, I would love to see, like, my goal in my head was 50 for the month. So for our team, right? Like, that's awesome. Because here's what's going to happen, right? You guys are going to start seeing it now as it comes through, right? As the pipeline's built, right? Like, people are seeing our numbers now, but they're not seeing us working on this since October, right? Like, months and months, right? It really takes 5 to 6 months of consistently hiring, building to have the pipeline built to where it starts going, right? So if you come in and think in 60 days, why aren't you there? Unless unless you bring in a Jim Larson and Jamie Susie and all them onto your team, right? It's there. And why don't you give up, right? For those that don't know, right? You guys know Jim Larson was who brought in Jamie and Sarah and all of them. And he was, right? For those that are newer, go look at the leaderboards at who Jim is, right? Jim got frustrated with it and left for 6 months and he got passed. And now Jim's on Sarah's team. Jim literally would have an agency doing probably $25 million a year if he wouldn't have left right now. 25 million, right? But he owns it. He owns that, hey, I didn't have my belief where I needed it to be. And he knew he just blew it, right? And he came back and he redid it. Like, we are here at such an amazing time. There is so much cool stuff going on, guys. The growth that's coming. You see the DFL FIFs are really getting pushed. It's going to continue to get pushed. There's a lot of money to be made there, a lot. And how we can pivot there. We're going to start doing some training on how to do that, like to use the FIF resets in HQ better for credit with Walnut and all that. But there's some cool stuff coming. All right. Sorry. Thanks for letting me rant, Misty. You had your hand up. What's up? Did you forget?
No, I remember now. And he's actually here and I told him I was going to throw him under the bus. So my brother-in-law, Easton, going back to this writing your app on yourself, I told you guys at the beginning of the week, we're dealing with lots of like house stuff and, all this. Well, funny enough, Easton was one of the people a few months ago that gave me a hard time about writing an app on himself, right? Like, there's going to be agents that do it. I'm not ready yet. I need to wait, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, his first week during training, had he been signed, right, he would have been ready to write an application. So I said, fine, you know what? I can't make you do anything here, but I can tell you that the reason that we have these steps in place is to prepare you for what's to come. So kid you not, he's standing here looking at me with his hands on his hips. Kid you not, we're going through this week because I'm going to tell the team, sorry, he bought a house. So congratulations to him. He did close on a house. But he's filling out his contract on DocuSign, never done it before. So he's showing me this stuff and asking about it. And literally I couldn't do anything but turn to him and say, well, if you would have filled out an application, you would have known that already. So when your agents give you a hard time about it, you can tell them, look, I understand, I've heard this before, and here's what I'm going to tell you. You're going to be in a better position writing that app on yourself because you're going to freak out when you have a client on the phone. And maybe Trevor's helping another agent. Maybe I'm writing an application. There's a time that's going to come. I'm here to teach you how to do this job, not do it for you. So what I can do is be the best mentor and tell you, you're going to be in a better position, just getting it out of the way. So I just had, like I said, funny story. And of course, he's sitting here looking at me that earlier this week. I was like, look, you just wrote that app on yourself. You would have been prepared for this too. So that was all.
I have to finish this because I'm not going to be here. We're going to be in Houston on Friday, so I don't know. I got to look at closer at what the schedule is for Friday if I can make this call. But I want to make sure everybody's acutely aware of what a cool day next Friday is. Next Friday is Misty's birthday. So if I am not here, make sure you 100% spoil her and throw her under the bus. So she is like, dang, damn it, Trevor. So, and so I will find her, but just if I'm not here to do it myself, please do a very good job and make me proud.
Wait, because we're not going to get off with the fact that Trevor's birthday is like, what, 10 days after mine? So
plus or minus.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get together without Trevor. We'll be talking. Hopefully he won't be on the call next week. We might just have to skip that recording and have something planned. But since he's going to throw me under the bus, it is our birthday month that we share, guys. So
Same. I'm a June baby too. So
ooh, who else is a June baby? Raise your hand. Any more? Yeah.
June, well, you can't say that and not say it. I mean, I'll go look it up if I need to.
who me? That's why I was just doing the math when she said 10 days after yours is close. Mine's June 27th.
Ooh, all right. Very close to mine. All right. I like it.
Tessa, remind me. The 6th? Is it today?
No,
It's today?
16.
16th. Okay.
Got a lot right together.
Yes. Birthday
Yes,
month.
but Tessa and Misty are babies though. So
It's true.
When do I reach adulthood? Just kidding.
child
want
number
that.
2. Child number 2.
Or 2. Yeah, we'll talk. Tessa first.
I figured she'd get a laugh out of that. So
So, all right, guys, that's all I have. Trevor, anything else before?
now, anybody got anything before we go?
Yes, I do. I wanted to add a couple of things there. So now I'll put my hand back down. So about the writing the app, because I saw that too. So Mona didn't really give me a lot of pushback, but she did kind of question it. But I said, well, it's just what we're doing. You need to do these, steps first before you get in live mentor training, which put her back a week for live mentor training. But then the other day she asked me, aren't I supposed to get a commission for that little app I wrote on myself? And I said, yeah. I said, but the first one takes a little bit longer to get your commission. I said, I looked back at I said, I want to say it was about 3 weeks from when I did my first Moo app before I got, which that was actually on my husband. But anyway, that I got the commission. So I looked and sure enough, it was 3 weeks. I said, but then you're already in the process and then the next commissions come faster. I said, that's why we want you to get that app on yourself. So you're in the system and everything's finalized and then you can start writing in live mentor training, you get paid faster. So that was an eye opener for me and her as well, I guess. And then the other thing I just want to tell you really quick before we're talking about the belief and how we're talking to prospects. And so the other day I was we had a really great interview with this guy. And we're talking, he's like, well, and I was asking what he brings to the team. And he was like, well, I'm a people person. I can talk well with people. I said, yeah, me too. And he goes, I can tell. He goes, because I'm sitting here thinking, I can tell this lady's smiling on the phone. and we're just having a great conversation. And this is just going, I'm thinking this is going really well. And so I said, yeah, it is. Well, we have our second interview the next day. on Zoom. So that was over the phone on Zoom. And so he tells me, and that was in the afternoon, and he tells me, he goes, yeah, actually, I had another interview this morning with somebody in a different agency, and her name is Meg something. And I was like, okay, well, you know, how did that go?
Oh,
And
was it Meg Matson?
Meg, yes. Meg, hold on.
Yes,
let me go-
I
yes,
know Meg.
Meg Madison, I think.
Yeah, as Meg Matson. Yeah.
Yeah, Matson. He's Meg Matson. He said Madison, but yeah, Matson. So yeah, I knew she was in under Purdy because she was also in that place where you were at in Orlando. And so I said, yes, I don't know her. I said, but obviously she's in our master agency if she was in Orlando. And anyway, so I just kept plugging the team and, you know, edifying Trevor. I said, well, you have Trevor and this, and that. So he goes, at the end of the day, so he's the one that's already doing Excel on his own before he ever had an interview. So that's the one I was asking you about. But anyway, so it's just about being excited, I think. And then they feed off of that and they hear it it comes through the phone. So that's all I was going to say.
Right. Remember, guys, like you can leverage it because it's just factual, right? There's only Symmetry hasn't been around 50 years. Very few producers have ever been the number one producer in the company. Scott was that. Scott wrote 500 applications his first year. Leverage that, right? Our live training, almost no agency within all of Symmetry does what we do. They all just tell, like, listen, all the other growing agency, you just got to show up to office hours and figure it out on your own. They do not do the week's worth of training that we do. Like no one does it. And I mean no one. Leverage that we do that live training because it's actually real. It's wise. Like Scott and I really understand the value of that and why it's so important, right? Understand that almost no other agency does that, right? And here's the other thing you get to leverage now. You can boldly claim, because it is factual, documented, proven, we have one of the fastest growing agencies in the company now. And that's thanks to everybody, right? That's not a one person effort. That's an everybody effort. Leverage that, right? Be excited about it, right? Like be excited that, hey, we have Tessa and Misty and Mel and, you know, Mona to help, right? Like, you know, we have, you know, systems in place, right? You don't have to explain to them what Bitrix is, but listen, we can teach you how to build right away. You don't have to wait to learn, right? Like the things we have are there. So, right? Like just take advantage of that. All right. Well, let's go show up. Let's go show everybody up on the Summers call.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.